I'm really excited for this Blue Beetle movie. And I'm hoping Ben Affleck Batman makes a cameo. Don't you think?
No.
What do you mean? Why no?
Everybody knows Batman's a fascist.
What is wrong with you? What's up, my comic comrades? We're here at the amazing new B&B Theater in North Richland Hills, Texas to kick off Blue Beetle Week. And with Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle being the first character entry in the new DCU era, we're very interested to see what this movie brings to the table. In the meantime, we're gonna get the pregame going with the full breakdown of Blue Beetle's comic book history, including his origins, important story arcs, greatest enemies, powers and abilities, and of course, we're gonna leave you guys with some solid reading recommendations. Having said that, there have actually been 3 different individuals to take up the mantle of Blue Beetle over the years, and though we'll briefly touch on the other 2, we're largely going to be focusing on Jaime Reyes. Mostly because he is the hero in the new movie, but also because he is largely considered the best Blue Beetle. He's just an extremely likable and relatable character, and as a bonus, his version of Blue Beetle has a dope exoskeleton type armor, which is one of the things I'm most looking forward to in the movie. Don't let me down, DC. We also want to thank B&B for sponsoring today's Blue Beetle episode and for inviting us to come check out their newest theater in the DFW area. This place is pretty great, and we'll give you guys a small tour in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's kick off the history of Blue Beetle with his real world and fictional origins. Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle was created by Keith Giffen, John Rogers, and Cully Hammer. It was introduced during DC's Infinite Crisis event. To be more specific, he first appeared as Jaime Reyes in Infinite Crisis issue 3 in February of 2006. It was then revealed as the 3rd Blue Beetle in Infinite Crisis issue 5 in April of 2006. As I said in the open, there have been 3 different Blue Beetles altogether, with the first being Dan Garrett and the second being Ted Kord, with Reyes becoming the new Blue Beetle after the demise of Ted Kord. As he was figuring out how to be Blue Beetle, Jaime became close friends with Kord's former teammate Booster Gold. He later joined the Teen Titans and eventually the Justice League. As far as fan reception goes, Jaime Reyes was almost an instant success, as the character has an awesome origin and a relatable quality to him. In many ways, he's like DC's Spider-Man. Jaime is just an ordinary teenager who one day is granted superpowers, but instead of a radioactive spider biting him, his abilities come from an alien scarab. In fact, let's break down his comic book origin in detail, shall we? Alright, Jaime Reyes' origin is laid out for us in the New 52-0 issue of Blue Beetle. In this issue, it's the Blue Beetle scarab itself, which is called Da, that explains to us its own backstory and how it eventually bonded with Jaime. We learned that a long time ago on Reach World, the aliens known as the Reach found insects on Planet 4. One of the aliens tells its commander they burrow into larger organisms and commandeer their nervous systems, a unique adaptation that I have developed into a new class of bioweapon. Within this containment dome is the prototype that will extend our reach across the known universe. I have designated it Da. The commander tells the Reach scientist, "You gave that thing a name," as they look at the scarab beetle. The Reach scientist replies, "The scarab unit is a living sentient being. Soon it will be your most powerful soldier." The alien scientists in the comic continue to explain how the scarab works, saying, once introduced to the target world, the scarab bonds with the dominant life form. The resulting scarab warrior uses the host's knowledge of its own world to destroy the planet's defenses. Care to see a demonstration? Which the commander authorizes. So that's pretty dope. If you didn't know, the whole purpose of the scarab is to bond with the strongest or most dominant life form on a planet and then turn that being into a scarab warrior using its knowledge to take over the planet for the Reach. Pretty damn crazy, meaning the scarab should theoretically have gone to someone like Superman, who's the most powerful being on Earth, but more on that later. The scarab is then sent to a planet where it finds the most powerful being there is a little girl with immense power. The girl is so powerful, in fact, she overloads the scarab with it saying, "Anomaly, all my power was redirected to a new objective. Escape, retreat, mission aborted." Returning to Reach World for repairs. As her power was way too powerful for the scarab, we find out this girl's name is Styx. She's a being that would try to make the perfect universe by merging it all into one race by killing and transforming all people into an undead legion under her control. Anyway, the scarab was then repaired and placed back into service. However, it came across a Green Lantern who knocked it off its path, with it landing on Earth during Aztec times. Then the scarab would bond with a tribe leader named Sky Witness. The problem is, this scarab could not control him. As the scarab tells us, perhaps it was the damage inflicted by the Green Lantern or the harm I received on my first mission, or both. Whatever the case, I could not control my organic host. At this point, the scarab was not able to use its host to take over the planet, but instead, the host was able to use the scarab's power to do as he wished. The host, aka Sky Witness, would then use the scarab's power to make his tribe conquer all the other tribes. He and his tribe would rule rule for 100 years. At this point, Sky Witness was very old, but he told his son, the Scarab wants a new man to empower. But I know it only seeks a weak or willing mind to control. I cannot allow this. The son asks, how can I help? He tells them, keep our people away from this pyramid. Let no one seek to recover its treasures, as he uses the Scarab's power to cause the pyramid to collapse on him, also sealing the Scarab away in the rubble. The Scarab tries to flee, but he catches it, burying them both. The issue goes on to say that many years later, a treasure hunter uncovered the Scarab and the remains of the pyramid. By then, the Scarab says, I was completely dormant. I was sold on the black market and began changing hands for the next few decades. A legend grew that I possessed strange powers, making me all the more desirable to wealthy collectors. After some time after Ted Kord's death, he would leave Dan Garrick's Scarab in the Rock of Eternity with Shazam. But after the destruction of the Rock, the Scarab would then land in an abandoned lot in El Paso, Texas, where it would be found by Jaime Reyes, as we see in Blue Beetle issue 1 from 2006. More recently, in issue 1 of the Blue Beetle graduation series, we're given a perfect summary of what happens next. As Jaime tells us, my name is Jaime Reyes, superhero alien hybrid teenager. Years ago, a mystical sci-fi scarab fell out of the sky and fused itself to my back permanently. Ever since, we've been fighting space invasions, evil wizards, you name it. The scarab on my back, Kaji Da, was created to destroy by the Reach, a group of alien conquerors. But our bond was stronger. We beat the Reach together. We used that power to help people. And with that determination, a new DC hero was born. We're about to find out for sure, but based on the trailers, it certainly looks like Blue Beetle's origin story in the movie will be very similar to this comic book origin. But first, you gotta get your butt to a theater, and there's no better place to take in Blue Beetle than B&B Theaters. Like we told you in the open, this is B&B Theaters' newest location in the DFW area, and it's got everything from their epic dine-in grand screen theater to the Outtakes arcade and an extensive bar if you're looking to grab something a bit toasty. I don't know about you, but when I'm heading to the movies, there's some important snack requirements before heading to my seat. For me, it's a large cherry icy and some popcorn. And if I'm feeling a little bit crazy, I add some M&Ms to my popcorn. Well, believe me, B&B hooks it up with all their cinematic deliciousness. In fact, let us know what your go-to movie snacks are in the comments. But what's really cool about B&B Theaters is that on top of great screens and snacks, they have a full food menu for dining in every theater. Each location is also a bit different. For instance, this theater has a very cool outdoor lounge and lawn game area to hang out with your family and or friends. It's just a dope place to hang out in general. So grab your tickets for Blue Beetle at bbtheaters.com, and while you're there, be sure to sign up for their free Backstage Pass loyalty program to get free refills on popcorn and soda, points towards free movie tickets, and more. Again, that's bbtheaters.com to find the BB Theater near you and enjoy the magic of the movies. Now, let's keep the Blue Beetle train rolling with the characters' important story arcs. Alright, as I said earlier, Jaime Reyes was introduced as the third Blue Beetle in Infinite Crisis issue 5 from 2006, but he's been developed as a character over several great titles since then. So let's dive into the character's most important story arc, starting with his role in the Infinite Crisis event and his follow-up 2006 Blue Beetle series, which spanned 36 issues. As I mentioned earlier in Infinite Crisis issue 3, where we witnessed Jaime Reyes' introduction, he stumbles upon a scarab and takes possession of it. Then in issue 5 of Infinite Crisis, we find Booster Gold and Reyes captured by Batman, triggering the scarab's activation and transforming Jaime into the new Blue Beetle. Reyes is understandably bewildered, explaining, what is it doing? It's crawling all over me. Whoa, why does everything look so damn weird? And with that, we witness his first flight as Blue Beetle, racing with intense speed and spinning out of control. But this pivotal moment in Infinite Crisis leads to his very own solo series in 2006, which has become something of a classic. In this title, we uncover the specifics of how Jaime stumbled upon the scarab and how it bonded to him. He discovers the scarab with the help of his friends, having escaped the destruction of the Rock of Eternity, and brings it home as seen in issue 1. Then one night, as he's sleeping, the scarab awakens, maneuvering its way to Jaime's bed, attaching itself to his back and embedding itself beneath his skin. Startled awake, Jaime finds himself speaking an alien language with strange inscriptions appearing on the palm of his hand. In issue 2, he heads to school as usual, even making a stop at his dad's auto repair shop. But upon leaving, he is ambushed by a gang of bullies and thugs who start pushing him around. At that moment, the scarab activates, covering Reyes in the formidable Blue Beetle armor. The armor then quickly puts on a display of power and wipes out his attackers. By the time issue 3 arrives, his parents confront him about his transformation. We see them gathered in the kitchen with tensions running high, as his parents, understandably perplexed, suspect drugs or some other dangerous factor as the cause for why Jaime has been behaving so out of character lately. However, Jaime reveals his true identity, transforming into Blue Beetle before their eyes, proving he is now a superhero. His mother freaks out and runs out of the house, while his father, displaying a more understanding demeanor, tries to give his son some wise advice, saying, "You gotta do what you gotta do. I'll talk to your mom. There are going to be things said, a lot of grief. It's anger, Jaime, and she needs to let that out. Here, take this phone. I'll call you when it's okay to come home." For all my fellow Hispanics out there, we know all too well that our mothers can be, well, let's just say, rather sensitive to put it mildly. Anyway, after this heartfelt exchange, Jaime takes off and starts a journey of self-discovery and testing his new abilities given to him by the Scarab. The remainder of the series does a great job of developing Jaime as a character and chronicling his triumphs and struggles, which is again very reminiscent of the early days of Peter Parker, and it's a lot of fun. This series firmly establishes the elements we love about the character, a teenager grappling with the challenges of being a superhero while navigating the complexities of high school, family life, and eventually larger responsibilities, such as being called upon to join the Teen Titans and the Justice League. It's a highly relatable story that resonates with both teenagers and adults alike, as it uses aspects of life we all experience in one way or another. Anyway, over the course of its 36 issues, Blue Beetle encounters the likes of Oracle and the Birds of Prey, Superman, Eclipso, Phantom Stranger, and many others. From there, we transition to Blue Beetle's New 52 solo series, providing a fresh starting point for new Blue Beetle fans. While this series largely echoes the 2006 title, there are some minor changes sprinkled throughout to accommodate new readers. Taking place during the New 52 era, which ushered in numerous massive changes for characters, this series establishes Jaime Reyes as the sole Blue Beetle in this universe, with Dan Garrett and Ted Kord retconned out of existence. Another notable change in this series is that Jaime's friends and family are unaware of his secret identity as Blue Beetle. Personally, I prefer the approach taken in the 2006 title, where his loved ones are aware, as it adds a nice intriguing dynamic layer to the character. Nevertheless, the New 52 series is a great read spanning only 16 issues. Moving forward, we have Blue Beetle's Rebirth title from 2016, which lasted for 18 issues. In this story, Ted Kord is alive, in contrast to his fate in the 2006 solo series, and he mentors Jaime to become the perfect Blue Beetle. Additionally, a significant revelation occurs in this series, courtesy of Dr. Fate, who unveils that the Scarab is not of an alien origin, but rather of magical origin, officially tying Jaime and his mythos to that of the original Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett. This reveal is further explored in the recent Blue Beetle Graduation Day miniseries, which we cover in this episode right here. Now, throughout his time in comics, Blue Beetle has encountered numerous dangerous enemies, so let's take a look at the most notable ones, with a particular emphasis on those who have posed significant threats to Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle. First is Dr. Polaris, a powerful supervillain with control over magnetic fields. Dr. Polaris has clashed with multiple iterations of Blue Beetle, including Jaime Reyes. His ability to manipulate magnetic forces make him a dangerous opponent capable of causing widespread chaos and destruction. Next is the Posse, a group of enhanced street thugs led by a villain named La Dama. The Posse has frequently targeted Jaime Reyes and his loved ones with their unique powers, really putting him to the test. But one of Blue Beetle's coolest and most formidable enemies is Black Beetle. Black Beetle is a psychopathic and dangerous adversary who shares a connection to the Reach, the alien conquerors responsible for the creation of the Blue Beetle Scarab. Black Beetle possesses enhanced strength, speed, and a ruthless dedication to the Reach's mission of destroying human life. He's actually pretty dope. Then there is Eclipso, a malevolent entity of darkness and corruption who has crossed paths with various heroes in the DC universe, including Blue Beetle. We actually posted a History of Eclipso episode last year if you want a full rundown on him. But Eclipso's ability to possess individuals and manipulate their darkest emotions makes him a serious threat, capable of turning even the most notable heroes into agents of destruction. And the last notable villain we'll mention is the Brotherhood of Evil. As a member of the Teen Titans, Jaime Reyes has faced off against the Brotherhood of Evil, a notorious supervillain team, led by the ruthless Mansoor Mala and the Brain. The Brotherhood employs an array of superpowered individuals to carry out their schemes, which makes for some awesome confrontations with Blue Beetle and the Teen Titans. Anyway, these are just a few of the notable enemies Blue Beetle has faced, and in every battle, it's his long list of high-tech powers and abilities that has allowed him to come out on top. So let's take a look at his power set. As you would assume, basically all of Blue Beetle's powers come from the mystical scarab on his back. He forms a techno-organic armor over his body that he controls as it's part of him. It also should be noted that the Blue Beetle scarab is the most powerful of the scarabs. However, the only Blue Beetle to not use the scarab is Ted Kord, the second Blue Beetle. The scarab works in tandem with Jaime, and the two can communicate with one another. Think of it like a way more advanced Iron Man's Jarvis, as the scarab is mystical in nature. The Blue Beetle scarab exoskeleton gives Jaime such abilities like tracking system. The suit can track any energy, biological, or magical technology. It also gives them symbiotic telepathic communication. The scarab talks in its own language, but since they're talking symbiotic and telepathically, Jaime can understand. The scarab also grants him incredible superhuman strength, being able to lift around 5 tons. And going through things a little quicker because he has a bunch of abilities. He has superhuman sight, agility, shape-shifting abilities. The scarab can create an array of things and weapons out of the armor as well, as we see in the trailer for Blue Beetle. The scarab also has hundreds of different weapon configurations, such as blades, spikes, grappling Gatling guns, swords, ion cannons, antimatter blasters, you name it, it probably has it. It also grants Jaime a healing factor. What I'm saying is, because of the array of abilities the Blue Scarab grants Jaime, he has the potential to be one of the greatest and most powerful heroes in DC Comics. As for reading recommendations, check out Infinite Crisis, where he debuted, then probably his best series to date, which established the character's mythos, Blue Beetle from 2006, the 2016 Blue Beetle Rebirth series, and one of my favorites, Blue Beetle Graduation Day. It's probably the best jumping on point for people looking to start reading the character before the film, but that should be enough to get you all started.
Well, that wraps up our overview of Blue Beetle's comic history, but we'll be dropping more Blue Beetle content all week leading up to the movie's debut. In fact, on Wednesday, we'll be giving you guys our list of the 10 essential Blue Beetle comics, so be on the lookout for that. We also want to thank B&B Theaters once again for hosting us and giving us the run of the place today. Make sure to check them out and grab your movie tickets at bbtheaters.com. Other than that, we'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.